For decades, India's military strength has rested on a very difficult contradiction. India is a rising global power, commanding one of the world's largest armed forces, and yet it is deeply dependent on foreign weapons and imported technology. And that's sad. Right from fighter aircrafts to submarines, from artillery guns to air defense systems, India has relied very heavily on overseas suppliers to secure its borders. But this dependence has come at a very heavy cost. Every conflict, every geopolitical crisis has exposed the risk of relying too heavily on foreign supply chains, and that too for national security. And then rightly so, India has decided to change its course. What is followed was not just a policy shift, but a beginning of a strategic transformation. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India has launched an aggressive push towards defense indigenization. The objective is very ambitious. It underlines the idea to reduce imports, strengthen domestic industry, and build a self-reliant military-industrial ecosystem. And here comes the Make in India initiative, which has become the driving force behind this transition. Defense manufacturing was open to private players. Indigenous platforms have received political backing. Research and development has gained renewed momentum, and slowly the results have begun to show. And today, India is no longer looking at self-reliance as an aspiration alone. It is building its own fighter jets, warships, missiles, artillery systems, drones and advanced surveillance platforms, and that too all within the country. This transformation is still underway. Challenges remain, but one thing is clear. India's defense story is no longer just about buying weapons from the world. It is about building them at home and emerging as a global defense power in its own right way.
There was a time when India's military modernization moved painfully slowly. China was rapidly modernizing its military. Pakistan continued investing in asymmetric warfare and missile capabilities. The Indian Ocean was becoming increasingly contested, yet India remained heavily dependent on foreign suppliers for some of its most critical defense requirements. But slowly, that began to change. A new push for defense self-reliance started reshaping the entire ecosystem. The government began reforming procurement systems. Indigenous manufacturing was pushed to the center of defense planning. DRDO, public sector companies and private industry was increasingly brought together under a large strategic vision. The goal was ambitious: to reduce foreign dependence and build a military-industrial base capable of supporting India's rise as a major power. And over the years, the transformation started becoming visible. Indian-built warships began entering service in large numbers. Indigenous missile systems became symbols of changing defense landscape. The private sector too started playing a far bigger role in military manufacturing, and gradually India began moving from being only a buyer of weapons to becoming the builder of weapons. Today, the shift is becoming impossible to ignore. Defense exports crossed 38,424 crore rupees in financial year 2025-26. Indian-made military equipment is now reaching countries across Asia, Africa and Latin America.
But beyond the numbers lies a larger story. The story of how India is attempting to transform itself from a defense importer to a self-reliant military power. And nowhere is this transformation more visible than the Indian Army itself. So what has changed? How did India move away from decades of dependence? What role did policy reforms, private industry and military modernization play in this shift? This is the story of India's defense revolution, the reforms, the challenges and the rise of new military industrial area. And it begins with the Indian Army.
For decades, the Indian Army carried the burden of defending one of the world's most complex security environments, while relying heavily on aging platforms and imported military hardware. In 2012, modernization remained slow and uneven. The backbone of India's armoured fleet remained the aging T-72 tanks. Infantry soldiers operated Insar's rifles that had long faced criticism over reliability. Artillery modernization had virtually stalled after Bofors controversy, leaving major induction programs trapped in procedural delays. Battlefield surveillance remained limited. Armed drones were absent. Tactical communication systems lacked integration. Even basic combat requirements, from bulletproof jackets to modern assault rifles, were often in short supply. By 2026, the change had become unmistakable. Today's Indian Army is steadily evolving into a more modern, technology-driven and increasingly indigenous force. The artillery arm, once referred to as Army's forgotten arm, has witnessed a major revival. Indigenous systems like Dhanush artillery gun, the advanced towed artillery gun systems or the ATAGS, and Pinaka multi-barrel rocket launchers are now becoming central to India's firepower capability. The K9 Vajra self-propelled artillery system is also being manufactured in India with substantial domestic participation. The battlefield itself is changing. Infantry modernization has accelerated as well. The aging Insar's rifle is being replaced by SIG 716 rifles and AK-203 assault rifles manufactured in India. Soldiers now operate with improved body armor, thermal imagers, advanced helmets and enhanced battlefield communication systems. But the transformation is not limited to weapons alone. Following the Galwan clash of 2020, India dramatically expanded military infrastructure along sensitive border regions. Roads, tunnels, bridges, logistic hubs, and advanced landing grounds have strengthened rapid troop mobilization across the northern frontiers. The army is also integrating artificial intelligence, satellite-based monitoring, real-time surveillance, and network-centric warfare systems into operational planning. At the heart of this transformation lies one defining shift: indigenization. The growing share of Indian Army's platforms are now either fully indigenous or manufactured within India through technology transfer and domestic partnership.
By 2012, the Indian Navy was already recognized as one of the most capable maritime forces in the Indian Ocean. Its reach extended across critical sea lanes. Its operational experience was unmatched in the whole of the region, and its growing presence reflected India's expanding strategic ambitions at sea. But beneath that reputation, significant challenges remained. Navy continued to depend very heavily on imported platforms and foreign technology for critical capabilities. Submarine projects faced massive delays. Aging fleet required urgent replacement. Indigenous capability in key technologies such as engines, propulsion systems, and advanced naval aviation assets remained limited. Aircraft carriers, submarines, naval helicopters, and several frontline weapon systems still relied substantially on overseas suppliers. India was a maritime power, but not yet a fully self-reliant naval manufacturing power. Let's fast forward it to today, and the tide has completely turned. From indigenous aircraft carriers to stealth destroyers built right in Indian shipyards, the Navy has aggressively transitioned from a force that bought ships to a nation that builds them all by themselves.
India understood that maritime power would become central to its strategic future. But building that capability required far more than importing warships. But the most visible symbol of this transformation arrived with India's first indigenous aircraft carrier, the INS Vikrant. For the first time, India demonstrated the ability to design and build an aircraft carrier domestically, a capability possessed by only a handful of nations in the world. The 45,000-ton warship represented more than naval expansion. It marked India's emergence as a serious maritime industrial power capable of mastering highly complex naval engineering and large-scale warship construction. At the same time, Navy's surface fleet also underwent a major technological leap. Advanced stealth destroyers like the Kolkata class and Vishakhapatnam class introduced long-range sensors, BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles, advanced air defense systems, and integrated network-centric warfare capabilities into the fleet. But perhaps the most strategic transformation took place beneath the ocean's surface. For decades, nuclear submarine capability remained one of the most exclusive domains in the global military power. Only a handful of nations possess the expertise to operate nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines, the backbone of credible nuclear deterrence. India's entry into that elite group marked a historic milestone.
If you recall, in year 2012 and around, the Indian Air Force was facing a very major crisis. There was a declining squadron strength, aging aircrafts, heavy dependence on imported fighter jets, their engines, radars and missile systems. Modernization moved very slowly. Even as aerial warfare around the region was evolving with stealth technology, drones, precision weapons and network-centric combat systems. India understood that future air superiority could not rely entirely on foreign platforms. It required something far more difficult: the development of strong indigenous aerospace ecosystem.
The Indian Air Force was fighting a race against time. The legendary MiG-21, once the backbone of India's air power, continued flying despite decades of service. Squadron strength was steadily declining while regional threats from China and Pakistan evolved rapidly. By 2026, the Indian Air Force had evolved into a far more modern, digitally networked and precision strike-capable fighting force. At the center of this transformation was the induction of Rafale fighter aircraft, bringing advanced sensors, long-range strike capability, electronic warfare systems, and Meteor, the beyond visual range missiles, into the Indian Air Force inventory. At the same time, indigenous capability also began gaining momentum. The Tejas fighter program emerged as a major symbol of India's aerospace ambitions. The Tejas Mark I Alpha, equipped with advanced avionics, AESA radar, electronic warfare suits, and indigenous weapons integration represented a major leap in India's domestic fighter aircraft capability. India also accelerated work on the Tejas Mark II and the 5th generation Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft Program, or the AMCA. India's indigenous weapons ecosystem expanded rapidly. The Astra Beyond Visual Range missile gave the Indian Air Force a domestically developed air-to-air combat capability designed for modern aerial warfare. Indigenous glide bombs and precision-guided munitions also strengthened India's ability to conduct long-range precision strikes with greater accuracy and reduce dependence on foreign weapon systems. India's air defense architecture evolved dramatically as well. The indigenous Akash missile system became operational across multiple sectors, while the induction of the S-400 air defense system significantly strengthened India's layered air defense shield against hostile aircrafts, cruise missiles, and long-range aerial threats. Airborne early warning systems, real-time surveillance, electronic warfare, and network-centric operations increasingly became central to operational planning. The transformation was not just limited to fighter aircrafts alone. The induction of the indigenous light combat helicopter Prachand marked another major milestone in India's aerospace journey. Designed for high-altitude warfare and operations in extreme terrain, Prachand strengthened India's combat helicopter capability along sensitive border regions. And perhaps one of the biggest changes came in the rise of drone warfare. What was almost absent in 2012 is now becoming central to future air combat strategy. Indian companies and DRDO are developing surveillance drones, swarm drones, loyal wingman concepts, and counter drone systems designed for next generation battlefields. But beyond the platforms and technology lies an even larger shift: India's growing aerospace self-reliance.
In 2012, India's strategic deterrence capability was still evolving. The nuclear triad remained incomplete, long-range missile capability was limited, and military space systems were still evolving. And at the same time, China and Pakistan were rapidly expanding their missile and nuclear capabilities, forcing India to completely rethink its long-term strategic posture. What emerged over the next decade was highly sophisticated, unshakable shield of deterrence.
Over the next decade, that transformation accelerated. By 2026, India had significantly strengthened its defense architecture through advanced ballistic missiles, integrated air defense systems, anti-satellite capability, and nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines like INS Arihant, completing India's nuclear triad. India's strategic force architecture has evolved into a far more sophisticated and survivable deterrence system. India now operates nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines capable of carrying submarine-launched ballistic missiles, giving the country a far more credible second strike capability. The Arihant-class submarines represent one of the most critical pillars of India's strategic deterrence posture. India's long-range missile capability has also expanded dramatically. The Agni 5 ballistic missile, with intercontinental range potential, now forms a key part of India's strategic arsenal. India is now moving towards MIRV capability, that is multiple, independently targetable re-entry vehicles. allowing a single missile to carry multiple warheads against different targets. India has expanded its conventional strategic strike capability through systems like the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile and development of hypersonic technologies. The space domain has also emerged as a critical pillar of India's national security architecture. The creation of the Defence Space Agency marked a major institutional shift towards integrating space into military operations. In year 2019, India demonstrated anti-satellite capability through Mission Shakti, proving the ability to destroy a satellite in low Earth orbit. India is also investing heavily in ballistic missile defense systems, the induction of the S-400 defense system. They are gradually strengthening India's layered strategic shield. Cyber warfare, electronic warfare, AI-enabled surveillance, and space-based monitoring are increasingly becoming part of India's strategic deterrence framework.
For decades, space has been viewed largely as a domain of scientific exploration and civilian communication. Satellites have supported weather forecasting, navigation, telecommunication and global connectivity. But in 21st century, space has become something far more strategic. Modern warfare now totally depends very heavily on space-based systems for surveillance, navigation, missile tracking, communication, targeting, intelligence gathering and real-time battlefield coordination. From military satellites and anti-satellite capability to space-based surveillance, missile tracking and integrated battlefield networks. India is steadily building the foundations of a modern military space architecture designed for the future warfare. Apart from space and traditional areas of technology, the world militaries are now investing billions into next generation technologies that could redefine the balance of power in decades ahead. And India has entered that race. From hypersonic systems and swarm drones to AI-enabled warfare, quantum technology, robotics and advanced space systems, India's defense research ecosystem is increasingly focusing on niche technologies designed for battlefields of the future.
By 2026, India had built one of the world's fastest growing strategic space ecosystems. The country expanded its network of military and dual-use satellites for communication, reconnaissance, navigation, electronic intelligence and real-time surveillance. Systems like GSAT-7 and GSAT-7 Alpha strengthened secure communication capabilities for the Navy and the Air Force, while the RISAT and Cartosat satellite series enhanced India's surveillance and imaging capabilities across sensitive border regions and maritime zones.
मेरा विश्वास पक्का हुआ है कि जो भारत कभी वेपन्स के मामले में दुनिया का एक बड़ा इंपोर्टर माना जाता था, अब भारत को दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा एक्सपोर्टर बनने में आगामी 25-30 वर्षों के अंदर दुनिया की कोई ताकत रोक नहीं सकती है.
We are very well aware that India was primarily known as world's one of the largest importers of defense equipment. But over the last decade, a major shift has begun to take shape. In 2013, our total defense exports were rounding around just rupees 686 crores. But if you talk today, India is not only building weapons for its own armed forces, it is also increasingly exporting them to the world over. Powered by state-run enterprises and an explosive private sector, India's defense exports have broken all historic records, skyrocketing to an all-time high of 38,424 crore rupees, supplying cutting-edge systems to over 80 nations globally.
India's defense industry focused largely on licensed production rather than large-scale indigenous design and export capability. And the numbers reflected that dependence. In the year 2013-14, India's defense exports stood just at 686 crore rupees. But over the last decade, that landscape has begun changing rapidly. Today, India is steadily transforming from defense importer to an emerging defense exporter. The shift has been driven by a combination of policy reforms, private sector participation, strategic ambition, and growing indigenous manufacturing capability. And the results are becoming increasingly visible. By year 2026, India's defense exports had crossed 38,424 crore rupees, a dramatic rise compared to just a decade earlier. Indian-made military systems are now reaching countries across Asia, Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and the Indo-Pacific region. The export basket is also expanding rapidly.
Over the last decade, India's defense landscape has undergone a major transformation. And for the first time, India is not only an importing military power, but it is increasingly building and exporting it as well. Challenges still remain in critical technologies, but the direction is very clear. India is moving from defense dependence to strategic self-reliance.
भारत माता की, भारत माता की, वंदे, वंदे।